Family Tree Farms dates back to the year 2000, but its roots run much deeper and older. Founder and owner David Jackson comes from a long line of farmers. His father moved to Central California as a laborer in 1936 and later bought his own 40-acre farm.
I followed behind my father through the fields as a child, and as a teenager, I worked beside him in the fields as a child, really learning the practical knowledge of being a farmer. He was never a large farmer, but he was a very hard worker and honest man. And once he told me, he said, "Listen, don't come into the house early. I don't care if you go out into your orchard and take a chair and sit in the middle of it and just listen. Just look at the trees and ask them, are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Is there anything biting you? Do you need more sunlight? Did I thin you enough so that you will make large, beautiful, tasty fruit?" You sit there and ask them those questions, and you become a farmer that puts his shadow on the soil. And nothing grows well unless we put our shadow on the soil.
In the decades since, and especially since founding Family Tree Farms, David has grown a large number of the 340 different crops that make up the vast agricultural lands of the Central Valley.
We first specialized in stone fruit, peaches, plums, nectarines, apricots, and then later we found the fabulous blueberries. And I didn't want to be just as good as the others in the marketplace. I wanted to be the best in the world, like coming up an Olympic champion. When we made our mission statement, which is to consistently, time after time, produce, package, and market what? The most flavorful fruit in the world. When the consumer puts our fruit in their mouth, I love to hear them say, "Wow, that is the best tasting piece of fruit I've ever tasted in my life." And when the kids say, "Mommy, Mommy, I want another one of those Family Tree Farm fruit," that's the gold medal reward that Family Tree Farms is looking for.
The last century has seen Family Tree Farms branch out into various ways at once, the ever-expanding workload shared by younger generations of Jacksons, and the family now extending to 86 members, including 21 grandchildren and 38 great-grandchildren.
And all the men of working age are part of Family Tree Farms.
The makeup of the business is such that each constituent farm operates independently. Many in the family run their own orchards with their own managers and irrigation teams, but all the resulting produce is gathered and packaged under the shade of Family Tree Farms. David's son Daniel and son-in-law Andy Muxlow are both company co-owners. They've been friends since childhood. Andy grew up to marry Daniel's sister Becky, and farmers almost as long. And while both still keep their boots on the ground in that essential capacity, says Daniel, from there we spread into other areas where we might have other gifts. His own specialisms tend towards business development and international operations. When it comes to export, supplying valued clients such as Spinneys makes him marvel at what's now possible.
To get that all the way across from a little ranch here in the central part of California all the way over to Dubai. What a special world we live in. And we have the technology and the planes and the ships to be able to do that, to get fruit all around the world. It's a big world out there. So what we started doing is we started traveling all around the world, meeting different breeders of different commodities, from blueberries to figs to citrus, to table grapes and stone fruit, which has historically been our foundation. And we make those relationships and we bring those breeders' life work back to California to our Research and Development Center. We grow them in this area and we test them to see if they can become a commercial variety that we can grow in our special soil, in our special arid climate, and we can ship that produce all around the world and give people a really neat experience that they can take home to their families and say, wow, this is something amazing. The most precious words we can hear when somebody eats our fruit is wow.
Wow. We've searched the world over. We have a relationship with 31 different plant breeders worldwide to basically give us their life's work and steward that and be able to plant their genetics all over the world.
Most of that new fruit is sampled here at Family Tree Farm's renowned Research and Development Centre and tested for commercial viability in what Daniel calls our special soil and climate. That core component of the business is overseen by Eric Wool, a man who lives to talk fruit, as he puts it. At a tasting session held during the Spinneys team's visit, he picked up a specimen from a new variety of nectarine they have named Nectar Pink.
At first look, it's not very attractive. It has a lot of spots, which we call freckles or sugar spots. However, Nectar Pink is unique because it has the most wonderful flavor that you'll ever want. It is sweet with just a slight touch of acid, and actually, it tastes like a super ripe mango. And a lot of times our flavor panels and ownership want to refer to this as Mangolicious.
The modern grocery shopper, he goes on, has been conditioned to think of apparent blemishes on a piece of fruit as reasons not to buy it. Eric and his team have been trying to change our customers' minds on that point and to show our retailers too.
I'm unfortunately 69 years old, and I've been standing over fruit for most of my life. And one thing I have learned, especially with nectarines, is which is the sweet nectarine and which is the one that's not as sweet. I've looked at fruit all my life, and if I wanted to take a piece of fruit home to my mom, my children, my grandmother, or friends, when I go into a bin of fruit, I look for these little tiny spots on the fruit, which I call sugar spots. The industry itself likes to have what Troy is showing is a shiny piece of fruit. It's probably the most attractive piece of fruit. It looks the best, but it's never as sweet as the one that has the spots.
Outside in the fields, the younger generation say they have learned almost all there is to know about this business from Eric and, of course, from patriarch David Jackson.
I never even went to college for agriculture or anything. I just started right after high school. And I say I have the best professors in the world. I have my grandpa, which knows more than anyone that I can ever think of. And then our other guy that I learned a ton from is Eric Wool at Research and Development for Family Tree Farms. He's been all over America, done every commodity you can think of, and he's taught me a ton about agriculture. And then probably for me the most is my father. Just being in the truck with him every day, coming out here and just learning little tiny things that you don't think you're like, it's not too much. I'm learning too much about this. And then all of a sudden you start talking to people and they're like, man, you know a lot. And I'm just like, I don't think I did, but I guess these little things my dad told me here and there my whole life, I picked them up, and now I've picked them up, and now I'm practicing with them, and I guess I'm doing a lot with it. So, so that's something I just appreciate, is just how much knowledge my family and even other people that work for us in our company have passed down to us, third generation.
Ty Muxlow, Andy's son, does a similar job in the orchards on a daily basis. He has a little more academic experience and can vouch for the superior hands-on education they received as boys on the farm.
What I personally love about being in the family business is just getting to learn from each other and getting to work with my cousins that I grew up with right across the way at our house. We grew up together, and just having those working relationships really harbor a great friendship and a great kind of a brotherhood between all of my cousins and my uncles and grandpa. So I enjoy that, as well as just learning from my elders and learning different practices that they do. That might be an industry standard thing, or it might not be at certain points of the year. There's different nuances with all these different varieties that we grow. And it's just amazing to first try to absorb all the information, but then try to be innovative as well and trying new things, and always experimenting out on the farm, thinning practices, pruning practices, always trying to cut costs and having fun trying to do that. It's a challenge, and that's what makes it so rewarding.
Grant Garcia, who married into the family and now manages the trucking and equipment side of things, has had less time to absorb that great wealth of farming knowledge. Over a decade in his company, he has come to savor the feeling that he's able to grow a future. But that great blessing, says Grant, is being part of this quest to find the most flavorful fruit in the world.
The quest for flavor is just the continual program that Eric has developed at Family Tree. The constant outlook of new varieties, just what's coming down the road, and it takes a lot of time. It's a lifetime's work for a lot of breeders, a lot of families, a whole lifetime of work to just get that one variety that sticks. That's great.
Family Tree, you've heard it time and time again, our calling is the most flavorful fruit in the world. And so just growing up, I've always been taught, hey, that guy across the street that picks as a commercial guy, look at that, look how he picks, and it's green, and it's sure it arrives, and they're getting great pack outs. But I've been taught by my grandpa, my dad, and everyone, and we've all taken this together as this third generation, and my uncles, is we sacrifice a little bit rougher of a pack out and things like that, just to make sure that every time you get a Family Tree Farms piece of fruit, that it's gonna be sweet, juicy, and probably the best piece of fruit you've ever had in your life.
Troy will often go around the valley giving out the family's produce for strangers to try, and word most often heard is the one this whole dynasty lives to hear. Wow.